All right, y'all. We got some Diddy updates to talk about. More things have emerged following Homeland Security's raid at Diddy's Los Angeles and Miami homes as part of a sex trafficking investigation. Combs's alleged drug mule was arrested and charged with cocaine and marijuana possession at the Miami Opa-locka airport. After federal agents intercepted Diddy's plane to the airport, Miami-Dade police did some searching and they found contraband inside of Paul's travel bag. The man's name, by the way, was Brendan Paul. It's being reported that Brendan Paul is carrying those drugs for Diddy. Now, I don't know if he's carrying the drugs for Diddy or not. No, I have no idea. Police report don't show Diddy's name at all. But when you look at earlier reports, Rodney Jones, Lil Rod, right? That's the producer that's accusing Diddy of sexual harassment, sexual assault, all that stuff. He says that there's a man named Brendan Paul who handles and holds Diddy's drugs and guns. Now, look, if I was Puff, I'll be honest with you. I mean, I don't deal with drugs and guns. But if I did, and if I had $1 billion, I bet you best believe I wouldn't be the one carrying it. Like Hov said, if I put my gun in his waist, right? Like it would be somebody else carrying it around. And that's what athletes do. This is not uncommon. You see professional athletes all the time, right? They got homies that carry whatever they don't want to carry or handle whatever they don't want to handle. Or they got a homie that will take the charge, right? Oh, it's a gun in the trunk and I got a 5-year, $500 million NBA contract or, whatever they get now. You best believe a homie in the back rolling the weed, he going to take that gun charge. He'll eat that felony. He may do a little time. He may not. But if he takes that time, he's going to come out a hero. He's going to come out with his family taken care of. He's going to come out with some M's in his bank account because that's the point. So look, I'm saying that to say what Diddy's doing here is not as foreign and exotic and weird as the white mainstream media wants you to think. This is fairly common to have somebody carry and do all this stuff. And Brendan's a young man. He's 25. Diddy's almost 55. Diddy will be 55 in November. So this man is 25 years old. And if he's walking around with Diddy carrying, his unmentionables, you know what I mean? I ain't mad at Diddy about that. Again, there's lots of things to be outraged about, but I refuse to be outraged about Diddy with this, especially the cocaine part. I don't want people to do cocaine. I don't do cocaine. I've never done cocaine a day in my life. But people want to do drugs and they're responsible. They ain't hurting nobody. They ain't stealing. That's fine. The guns, I don't know nothing about. I don't know if they're legal guns, illegal guns, but I'd rather Diddy not travel with guns. But I do think Diddy should travel with security. Why? Because there are people who want to harm him. There have been people who wanted to harm Diddy for 30 years. He should have security. But it's interesting how this is playing out. Also, while that's happening, Diddy also, according to TMZ, is no longer associated with Revolt at all. He'd already resigned as chairman, but he was still, financially invested in the company. But now he has sold all of his shares of the company to an anonymous buyer. I don't know who bought them. And then the third piece of this is that they announced that Diddy wasn't detained, that he wasn't arrested, that there were no charges as of now. And then his lawyer couldn't just take that W and say, look, Diddy wasn't arrested. He didn't leave the country. He didn't escape. He was cooperative. He could have said that. But he turned it up a notch and basically said that his client Diddy's being railroaded, that he's being castigated in the mainstream media, and that law enforcement, when they did their raid, he called it a, quote, gross overuse of military level force. Now, he ain't wrong. He ain't wrong that the way they bust up in that crib, it did look a little strange. It did seem a bit odd that they had so many military vehicles and so many weapons and all this stuff. Now, maybe it's because they thought Diddy had guns, Maybe they thought that they were going in and busting on Tony Montana or the Jamaican dude from Belly. I don't know. But the way they were moving, you would have thought they were going in for World War III. Doesn't seem appropriate. Locking up the kids didn't seem right to me. Now, there's plenty to be mad at Diddy for. there's plenty to be questioning about, right? Diddy about. There's plenty of reasons to be like, I don't rock with dude, right? If based on these allegations, if you believe the allegations, there's plenty of reasons to not mess with him. But he still deserves a fair trial. Still deserves safety. He still deserves due process. He still deserves dignity. All people do. His lawyer is right to say, hey, we're getting treated excessively harsh. I think 100% right. Doesn't nullify whatever the allegations are, but it is something worth mentioning. And I don't think Diddy's wrong about that. But right now, again, things seem to be falling apart for Diddy. Things seem to be drifting away for him. His drug mule allegedly got held up. Not a good look. Doesn't mean he's guilty of anything. Doesn't show anything, but just not a good look. Him withdrawing all of his shares or selling all the shares of Revolt could be just a business decision, but he started the network. The fact that has nothing to do with it, clearly that's in the company's best interest at this point. But it's just fascinating to think about. You know, it doesn't look like things are moving in the right direction for him. And now that his lawyer is focusing on how his client was treated in the investigation, that could be just to garner sympathy. Now, I think they believe it, and I think they're right. I think Diddy's lawyer and Diddy's right again, they look like they were breaking into, like, you know, a military compound as opposed to a house in the richest part of LA, one of the richest parts of West LA. But I'm not sure that focusing on that will work. It may look like a diversion to people.